Okay, lovely people, let me introduce you to the new oven at Wood Fired Ovens. This is called the dome60. I absolutely love it. I'm just on the finishing stages of getting that perfect little sizzle on my roast chickens. Okay, the dome60 is brilliant. This is a wood oven that we've just been working on, developing, and we've just launched. This is about £1,000, depending on the deal that we're doing or what kind of extras that we're doing on delivery and stuff like that. You get something that delivers on the day, on a pallet, and 4 strapping lads can get it up on the frame. You can have the logs in there, positioned in the garden or wherever you want it on that day, fire lit. And that, I think, is fantastic. It's much more flexible and it opens it up to a lot more people. An incredible, incredible gift. Now, as far as what this does is concerned, you can pull those coals forward, put literally a cake rack over it and cook steaks like a barbecue, right? You can be doing whole fish, sardines, wood roasted veg. You have never tasted a roast potato until you've tasted one of these bad boys from a wood oven. Absolutely incredible. Roasted chickens, you can start, literally bring the coals forward in a nice casserole pan, fry off your onions, bits and pieces, put a casserole or stew together, put a lid on top and just put it in the oven. So let me tell you a little bit about this. It's all in one piece. There's no parts, there's no construction, but the real kind of point of these ovens is you get to lose them in your property. Whether you've got a little cottage or a big house or, you know, you're an inner city urban roof or something like that. The point is you can get it, set it up, and you can kind of lose it in your garden and just see like smoke and like the kind of twinkling of fire. But the thing I like about this is it's really easy and ready and raring to go. There's a couple of people that do it cheaper than us, right? And that's fine. You'll always get people that are cheaper, but they haven't got the handmade sort of thickness here that's going to retain the heat. If you don't retain the heat, you don't get that all-encompassing, beautiful way of cooking. You have to keep feeding it with fire all the time. This, when it gets hot, it stays hot, and it gets really hot. If it's 450 degrees in there, it'll probably only be about 40 degrees out here. You know, literally as hot as you could get it in there, you could have a child put their hand on here and it would never hurt them, okay? So we've got insulation, safety, and it's properly made, it's proper kit. We've got fire bricks on the bottom, and then you get the brushes and the little peels and stuff like that. You can move the fire. I always move the fire to the side. If you move the fire to the side, you've got the full depth of the oven that you can cook in. Whole sea bass, whole salmon, sardines, roasted veggies. You can have it screaming hot and cook fish and open mussels, clams. You can cook them in like 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. Keep turning them, get them golden and crispy and stuff like that. Or you can let it just calm down a little bit. You know, get it down to sort of 200 degrees. You can buy one of those little metal thermometers. Just have it in there to give you a nice little signpost. You know, it hasn't got knobs and buttons, but it will, you know, you can maintain the temperature because of this thickness. Once it hits about 180, 200, you can cook a beautiful roast chicken like this in there. And of course, the difference with this is, once it's done, you can hold it in the mouth of the oven like that. Friends turn up, what's for lunch, stuff like that. A couple of little drinks. Lunch is sitting there being kept warm, looking beautiful. Without doubt, cooking in a wood oven is very sexy, it's very evocative. You've got the notes of smoke, not just in the sort of air around here, but you've got smoke hitting and licking, you know, just touching the meat, the fish. If you put a stew in there, or a soup even, you know, the way that the smoke goes around it, you know, it gives you that sort of extra sort of hidden seasoning of smoke, which is incredible. The Valerani ovens are the best ovens in the world. I use them in my restaurants, they're incredible. But they are expensive, and there's nothing we can do about that. They are big, and they involve a proper construction. Whether you do it cheaply or expensive, there's no mucking about there. With this, you know, we've got the ability to really make something very affordable. Of course, it's still a luxury thing, but for about £1,000, you've got something beautiful. Also, smoke, the woods you use. It's like a kind of invisible seasoning that we've all forgotten about. You've never tasted amazing cooking. You know, just put a Dover sole in there, olive oil, salt and pepper. See what the oven does to it, because it ain't going to taste like anything you've had before. Comes out the oven, sizzling, lemon juice, incredible. For me, this is wonderful value because it's going to give you something that's going to last. It looks good, it works, it retains the heat. These ovens, for me, are about getting people to taste food with a little bit of the flavour of history, okay? Getting that beautiful dry heat, the crispiness of meats and fish and stuff like that. So I think the thing to do now is show you a few things that we can cook on it. I'm going to cook a steak, and we've got our roast chicken here. We really want you to try eating food out of this oven. Now, one thing I want you to see at the moment, Dave, if you come in, my mate Dave's just getting a close-up here. One of the points of the wood oven is as you sort of stoke it with logs, you see the fire licking up the top of the dome, right? 60 centimetre dome inside here. You've got this fire. I always push the fire to the side so it gives you full depth. The fire is coming up over the top, and it's almost like a grill. We can cook a pizza in there in a minute and a half, 2 minutes, depending on your temperature. It's screaming. You can cook a sardine in a minute and a half. Crispy skinned all over. Garlic, olive oil, parsley, lemons there, shh, beautiful. Wood ovens are not about like anemic food. It's like proper attitude. It's like, whoosh. It's char, it's flavour. I want to show you how to cook a beautiful steak in the dome60 wood oven, smoke, intense heat. You're going to render fat. It's going to be awesome, incredible. Of course, get yourself some decent meat to start off with. I'm going to season it generously with salt and pepper. I'm going to introduce some olive oil, but not into any cooking, just onto the meat itself. Now I've got two choices. We have a screaming hot oven in here. So I literally, caveman style, can go and put this straight in the oven. Right? I can cook it on the bottom of the oven. I could put it in a pan that's been preheated in the oven and cook it in the pan in the oven. Or, the way that I love to do it as well, just let me wash my hands, is to just get a regular, this is an old second-hand cake rack. I'm just going to grab my meat, pull that fire to the mouth of the oven. Just have a look at that, Dave. Of course, as it's at the mouth of the oven, you know, the wind or the air is getting around it. You can see it, it's firing up. You can blow it, right? And then you can put your rack straight on the fire. Like that. I love, love, love. So we can casserole in the wood oven. We can grill in the wood oven. We can obviously roast and bake in the wood oven. We can intensively fast cook in the wood oven. And at the end of the day, we can slow cook. Obviously, this is when all the neighbours start to get very jealous about what we're cooking. And what we want to do is just pull this out and turn the meat over. Look at that meat, sizzling already. As the fat drips off the meat and hits the coal and puffs up, you get that lick of smoke. And that's where you kind of get that Argentinian, Brazilian kind of flavour. And it's very theatrical and exciting and lovely. And your job, because it's meat and it's expensive, is to take care of it and look after it. Look at that. Look at that dancing fat. That's serious. That would never happen on a griddle pan. That's never going to happen on one of those lovely little grills that render all the fat away. And what's quite nice is when you're happy with the char that you've got, if you still want to carry on cooking, what we can do is then push the coals back to the oven again and carry on sort of roasting it, which is lovely. Now, even the bone, you know, it's fizzing inside the bone, the flavours are coming out, it's like Marmite inside of there, it's like a big old stock cube. It's all about the fat dripping on the coals and then the smoke from that just kissing the meat with good flavour. That's why we're doing these ovens, because we literally want people in every street, or at least in every town, smashing out meat like that. It's all about how you look at it, really, isn't it? I mean, if you think about how much it is to have a couple of pints and go to a club once a week and go and get lashed, you know, you can easily do 70 quid, 100 quid a week if you're into that kind of thing. You could actually, you know, get nice and tiddly and have a great meal in your own home for 50 quid. You know, so in a year you've already paid for one of these and more. Do you know what I mean? So it's really about the kind of person that you are. I mean, let's be honest, if you're out getting amongst it, getting lashed every weekend, you're not going to be interested, probably, in a dome60. But just look at that. That's what we're talking about. If you're into beautiful, gnarly, beautiful British beef, or wherever you may live, that is what we're talking about. So look, I'm happy with char now. That's going to be blue inside. So the nice thing is, we have control. You know, we push these coals back into the oven. If you want to add logs, you can. You know, the nice thing is as well, if you're cooking meat, you know, you can have it resting and stuff. So I'm going to carry on cooking that for a little bit, but not on char. I'm going to put it just in the oven. So that'll just carry on roasting. But when that's resting, I can be getting my salads ready. Okay, so I've cooked this beef for about 5 minutes. Look at it, sizzling away, looking gorgeous. I'm going to put it onto a nice board. At this point in time, I quite like either putting a little knob of butter, just get it and just give it a rub with some butter or at least olive oil. Butter's got a lovely sweetness that it's going to give. Beautiful. So you don't need much butter, but just enough to sort of loosen it up a bit. Then to go with that, I'm going to have a little bit of horseradish. Just peel off the end, a little bit of rocket and watercress, tiny bit of olive oil, tiny pinch of salt. Obviously you would do whatever you're going to do at the dinner table, but standard for me, you know, nice watercress, really nice and mustardy, or rocket. So let's just get the bone off first. Some grown man will fight for that. And you know what, if you ever kind of get into meat and it's a little bit under, you can put it back straight back in the oven. That's one of the benefits. We've got this lovely little other cut here, and we can just slice that into different pieces as well. Look at that. You've kind of got the eye meat, traditional, more like a ribeye steak. You've got the bone to fight over. You've got the top cap here, which is my favourite bit. And then you've got this lovely little diced bit here, which is gorgeous. All I would do is season then from a height, because there's no seasoning inside it. Drizzle with olive oil. So either do a little pile of horseradish here and let people fight over their own. You know, just do a nice pile there. Or you can have a little sprinkle up all over the shop, if you so love it. And just having lovely piles of rocket in and around. And then all of a sudden, you're taking that to a table instead of an overcooked livery steak that's been knocked out on a gas barbecue. Do you know what I mean? So there you go, guys. There's a lovely ribeye steak. So good. Bet you've never seen a steak done like that before. So there you go, guys. This is the dome60. I'm really proud of it. If you're serious about food and you love entertaining, this is a really good option. Call up the number, go to the website, and our guys will be really helpful and tell you how it all works, how it gets delivered, and how you can get going. Good luck.